right, so greetings and welcome to our Cultivate 2020 booth, a la global pandemic. We are so thrilled that you're here with us today, and we wish we were with you in person. So my name is Melissa Herbst, and I am an industry account executive for Velosio, and I'm here with
Todd Waterman. I am an industry solution architect with Velosio, and this will be the first year in 19 years that I won't be at Cultivate. Sorry we won't see you all, but it's a whole different world, so we're going to try this whole virtual thing.
Awesome. So together, Todd and I are talking to growers every day about their key business challenges, and we are using technology to help them solve those challenges. We're proud to share that our horticulture team at Velosio has a vision, and we are here to help modernize and mature the horticulture industry and empowering growers like you to grow their business one grower at a time. In the next few minutes, we want to share how we have helped growers grow their business and solve problems in the past year. So one grower that we worked with recently was mildly irritated in some of their process inefficiencies before COVID. So Todd's going to share some of the challenges that we heard from this grower as a result of COVID.
Well, thanks, Melissa. Yes, it's everybody's problem. Availability, inventory, really that's probably the number one thing that every prospect comes to Velosio with. It is so common in the industry to use several different systems. Maybe you use QuickBooks to do your accounting, Excel to do your production, maybe numerous other spreadsheets for all the other information. So really, there's no deduction from the system when you do it that way, meaning you send your availability out maybe on a Monday, and you only do that once a week, but so it's really irrelevant in the first hour, right? So really with the system separated like that, it creates a lot of different problems and a lot of extra work. As I said, there's no deduction from the systems as items are sold, because the orders are not in the same system as the inventory. So for this particular customer, it's interesting because of COVID, we've seen customers that the sales are through the roof, depending on what vein of the industry they're in. Like big box stores have been very busy. A lot of the independent garden center vendors are definitely struggling because a lot of those were shut down. So this particular customer had a 40% decrease in orders. They had 40% less labor. And so they really struggled to have to change that. If you think about that, they had all of their purchase orders in for all of the inputs they were going to need for the season. All of their grow plans were done. And then when they had different order cancellations and that, it really took them 10 days to redo the production for their 10 highest volume items. So that really was a glaring problem to them. And so they contacted us to move forward immediately.
Thanks, Todd. And so we're excited to be working with this grower now. It's not often, but we do see businesses making decisions and making change in the downturn when things are quiet. So we're working with this organization now to implement a horticulture solution that incorporates Microsoft Dynamics 365 BC for growers to support their business run more effectively so they can grow their business as we move forward into the future. Okay, so we'd like to share a second story with you today. We have talked to growers who want to modernize their infrastructure and operate more effectively, but they can't do it all at once. So due to a limitation of time and resources, that could be either people or personnel to help take on a project, or certainly financial capability, they really want to focus on issues that are most pressing. And the way technology is right now, we can do just that. So as an example, we were working with a grower distributor on the West Coast. This client was expanding their customer base by 30%, and they were getting ready to roll into a busy spring. Well, it turns out the spring was even busier than they anticipated. And they were struggling in a few areas. So Todd's going to share a little bit about what some of their struggles were.
Yeah, recurring theme here. Availability is always the top culprit. So they really had a daily process of counting. I'm sure all of you have done that. If you don't have a system, where your sales orders are connected to the inventory, it's really never right. You're counting every day, you're constantly walking the crop. So this was the same situation. They had a daily process of counting the inventory manually. And then they really built an entire spreadsheet of the availability. But what's special about this situation is that they had many salespeople, and they were going to all the different stores, hundreds of stores. And they actually had a really long shelf life with their product, a couple months. So different than a petunia or something like that, with just a couple weeks, if that. So they really had to go to each store and really see what was needed. And so they actually built the orders while they were on site at the different stores. So the problem is that, with all that different salesmen, you can't have one salesman take all of the inventory. And you also can't let a salesman that maybe is at a store that isn't very high volume to take that, to take more. You want more availability for the busy stores. So they actually ran through all their different criteria to make sure that the spreadsheet the salesman went to the store with really only had numbers that they were actually available for them. And another thing is, again, there was no deduction from the system as the items were sold. So again, the availability is irrelevant right after you print it, basically. Another thing that they really struggled with was that orders as I mentioned just a second ago, they did orders on a spreadsheet. So if you can imagine a spreadsheet on a cell phone, you're scrolling around a lot, and I commend them because they were getting the job done, and it was better than nothing, right? But it was a very big struggle for them because of the fact that it took them so much time every morning to build all that spreadsheet. They got all the orders in and then collected them all and actually input the orders manually into the system. So you can imagine that you might be even doing processes like that yourself. And they also had finance problems. They really had trouble getting accurate financial statements with visibility to profitability and margin, and costing. QuickBooks doesn't have work in progress, or you can't really figure out what your inventory is worth and things like that. So they really were missing out on that too.
Very good. Thanks, Todd. So in our work with this client, there were a lot of opportunities where we could really have an impact. And so when we started our work, we really were looking to help them change with finance and accounting, sales, purchasing, inventory, production, improving shipping, and enabling mobile sales. But as we got close to spring, and also due to timing and also resource constraints, we really made a mutual decision to hone in on what were the key issues. And really when we honed in, we found that what was most important is enabling mobile sales, really giving the sales team the tools that they could request orders right from their phone, right from the store, seeing availability from their phone so they could process those orders, providing accurate availability so they knew what they had to sell, and then giving really the back office the controls to allocate the available product to the appropriate stores. As Todd said, we don't want one person getting all the product. We also don't want to send too much product to a store who may not have the appropriate volume to make a sale there. So this client, by honing in on those issues, this client was able to solve key issues and allow them to better support their expanding customer base, their sales team, and also optimize where product was shipped.
Yeah, and I think what was really exciting about this project was the fact that we really flipped the script. They know that they need a new system for all parts of their business for obvious reasons, but because of the increase in stores that they received, and so they had 30% increase in stores plus all the increase in sales. So that was a perfect storm. It's a good storm to have, but the most important thing to them was this remote ordering in the store. So what we did is we actually created a power app for them to handle that process that works. It's their system as it is right now. We created all that different criteria so they could really do all of that busy work in the app that they would do in the office in the morning. And the best part is next year when they do move forward with the new Business Central system, they'll still be able to use the app because we created it in a way that it'll still synchronize with the new system.
Very good. Yeah, with using Microsoft technology, Power Apps, and the Common Data Service, we were able to address that which was most critical to this grower. right, so our third and final story that we want to share with you today is really around helping growers get better information. So we see growers across the board struggling to get accurate information in a timely manner. And once they get that accurate information, we want to make sure they understand it. That's really easy to consume. So we do see growers and businesses spending a lot of time gathering the data, collecting it from multiple data sources, multiple spreadsheets, multiple people, and then aggregating it in Excel, organizing it, and then coming back and presenting it. And then the presentation, we see a lot of reports or static tables and charts. And a lot of times we see that data is looking in the rear view mirror. So it's looking at what happened last month. So that was last month. It already happened. We can't necessarily impact it. What we really want to see is what's happening now. So we are helping growers change, and technology is helping us do that. So in this case, it's another West Coast big box distributor. This client can see now what is going on in his business today. So we're using Microsoft Power BI. So this is an analytics tool that is included in the Microsoft Office 365 suite of products. And we're able to connect to data sources both within our platform and outside to present information in real time or near real time, and visuals that show trends that are easy to spot and understand. And so when we did the big reveal on some of this work, he could immediately see, as an example, that credits were being requested in a store by location. He could immediately see that there was a 5% credit request for a store in Alaska. And that was a huge red flag because Alaska is a little bit challenging to ship to. So that information is really going to help him make decisions like, how do I want to handle this customer, this location? And so he can also see where they've shipped product and not invoiced. So he can really address the gaps in his process that may not be finishing. He can see where they've invoiced and not been paid. So he can immediately see those concerns and go and address the issue.
But this particular customer was so used to just tabular reports, just printed to the screen or printed to paper. And now with the addition of visuals and different charts, the information jumps out at you, and it really helps you direct you what to be looking at. And so it was so eye-opening for him to be able to see really all the bad data in the system, orders that were left open, not shipped, from back in November, things like that he had no idea was going on. So it really was a working list for the accounting clerks and that to really be able to quickly look and see what things they needed to address. And so besides just being able to see the hundreds of ship-tos that they have, they're really able to see trends more than just running it for this month, right? They can see this month compared to last month or compared to last year, this same month. And so when you have really this information at your fingertips where you're not sitting there exporting spreadsheet after spreadsheet, literally taping them together on the table, I have much experience with that. This is all canned and ready to be digested, meaning all of the reports drill down into more information, and it really gives them insight to be proactive rather than reactive, as we so much of the time are reactive and always really trying to just catch up. So this really lets you see in the rearview mirror, like Melissa said, but really a look forward and a comparison to where you are now compared to last year, the year before, and so on. We cannot say enough about that. And so this customer really needed this system, and that's what they were most excited about. But I can say now that they have the cherry on top, the reporting and that comes with it, they really see the value of the whole Microsoft stack working together.
That's right. And I love some of the comments he shared. He said, this is a powerful tool and it's a game changer. So that's always exciting to hear how we can help these growers change their game. Well, thank you for being with us today at our Cultivate 2020 booth. We see many of the challenges that we've discussed today really across the industry. We think they're fairly common. And so we hope that by sharing some of these challenges, you will see how technology can help. And we at Velosio look forward to helping you solve your key issues with technology and empower you too to grow your business.